They tell us that we're a capitalist economy or society. I may not know that much about what all this means. It has something to do with free markets. I guess there are different forms of capitalism. We do not have free markets. The Federal Reserve sets the interest rate. The interest rate is not set by the free market. And the Federal Reserve is a private bank. A lot of people don't really know that. I don't know that much about the Federal Reserve. But capitalism is supposed to be companies competing against each other. And the problem with capitalism is that when companies are competing against each other, they're always trying to make more profit. How do you increase your profit? By exploiting your workers. And there is a bit of socialism mixed in after all. They tell us socialism is bad, but the government gives handouts and tax breaks to their favorite corporations and the rich people. All those tax laws, if you really want to have a fair system, everyone would pay the same amount of tax. You wouldn't have all these write-offs. But every time someone tries to talk about fair taxes or equal taxes, they get booted out of office. They don't even stand a chance. Every time these rich people have a problem or need a favor, they get a bailout, they get a tax break that you and I don't get. That's the problem. We're not in a free market. Look at all the bailouts that the government has given to the auto industry, the airplane industry, and through the lobbyists that are passing things through without proper testing, the pharmaceutical industry, all of them. They're meddling in all of it, but they're meddling in a way that makes them richer. So it's not a free market. Now, they also tell us that socialism is bad. I don't know why. It's like some kind of a mind game and people believe it. But if we look at countries that are more socialist, like Germany, Switzerland, and the Scandinavian countries, the people there are quite prosperous. They're quite well-to-do. They have free childcare, which is high-quality childcare. They have free healthcare for everyone. It may not be very good unless you pay extra. And they have free college, I believe, which we don't have. Now, how are they able to do this? How are they able to be so prosperous, so productive, exporting? Germany is a net exporter. We're a net importer. How are they able to be so productive and take such good care of their people? Because they don't have this big divide between rich and poor, for one thing. So you don't have all these people at the top making so much money. Like even the doctors there don't make as much money, but I think their medical school could be free or very cheap. But this is the main thing that they do. They don't have a big military that's all over the world. We have hundreds of military bases. We're constantly instigating military activity so that we can give money to these military contractors. That's the problem. That's where the money is going. That's why we're broke. Okay, in these countries that are bad, socialist countries, they actually reinvest in the people, in the community, in the children, in the education, in the healthcare. But, you know, Americans are told socialism is bad, capitalism is good. If you just work harder, anyone can make it to the top. That's BS, because there's over a 95% chance, something like that, that whatever social class you're born into, you will stay in, because to become rich, you have to be born rich. You have to be born into money or get a handout from someone with a lot of money. Bill Gates' parents were rich. Jeff Bezos' parents were rich. They all gave them a huge startup money to start their businesses. So I do not know why we're demonizing these European nations where the quality of life is so much better. They tell us a bunch of lies. They tell us capitalism is good, socialism is bad, and they tell us that we should support the military. I do not want to support the military. I walked out of the grocery store the other day and there was someone that was collecting money for some military thing, support the military. I said, I don't want to support the military. I don't believe in the military except for as a defense. Why do we spend so much money on the military? That's where we're broke. Because the people in power are giving their money to their military contractors, Wall Street, and they're giving them all bailouts. It's a inside scam, and we're all falling for it. The only chance we have of changing the system, you guys, is to vote. And the Republicans and Democrats are pretty much, I can't tell the difference between them. They both love war. They both love bailing out Wall Street. They both love tax breaks for the rich. Both parties. They both like open borders. They both like the disease care system. I have not heard of one public service announcement about cutting back on sugar, for example. They're identical to me. You might have some small difference at the edges, but there are other parties. Libertarian, Green Party, Independent. I don't even know what all the parties are, but they can't get on the ballot. It's really hard to get on the ballot. I've been following the Kennedy campaign a little bit. I'm on the email list, and you know, Kennedy was approved on the ballot in Nevada. I had to get all these signatures. They make it very hard. Each state has different rules, but guess what? They kicked him off because they changed one of the rules last week, and now he has to fight it in court. They don't want any third party on the system because they're Republicans and Democrats, an inside job. They both support all the same companies, the military, the big pharma, and Wall Street. And they don't want to upset the system. So the only chance we have of having a say, thank God in this country, we have the judicial system and we have a chance at third parties. We have to vote for a third party. And they tell you not to vote for a third party because your vote is wasted. Well, I tell you, a vote for these assholes, excuse my language, but they because assholes are beautiful things, these lowlifes in Congress, have to go. That we need a better system, better people. And the only thing to do is to vote or to get involved in a political campaign or run for office. That's really all we have, guys. Otherwise, none of this bullshit is ever going to change. You can make a little bit of money here or there for yourself, like I'm doing okay, some other people are doing okay, but it doesn't change the system and it doesn't help the people who are left out. And half of Americans don't even have $400 to their name. And that doesn't give me any joy. It's wasted talent. It's wasted talent. It's wasted resources. And the people in power don't care. I get too worked up. I should be a little calmer. Okay, calm down, Charizard. It's going to be okay. Capitalism really needs to have some checks and balances. The problem is when people get in power, they lose their empathy and they become more and more greedy and self-absorbed. It's really, really a challenge to find a capitalist who cares about other people and who wants to make the community better. That's really, really hard to find. During the whole COVID thing, I didn't hear one person say, did you check your diet? Did you check your exercise? No, it's all a sleight of hand to get more money, and they don't care about us. Fortunately, we're not in a dictatorship or something like that. Fortunately, we still have a chance to change the system through our votes. Fortunately, the voting still works, but they try to make it really, really difficult for any third party to get on the ballot. Ever since Ross Perot in the 70s had like 20-some% of the vote, I'm a lot younger than a lot of people. I remember when he was running, we were all so excited about him. And after that, they changed the system so to make it almost impossible for a third party candidate to even get on the ballot. That's how they do it. And as long as the Republicans and Democrats are the only two parties we can choose from, nothing is going to change because they don't care. They don't care about us. That's the bottom line. Thank God for YouTube that we can even make these videos. I'm surprised they're letting us, frankly, because I said something during the COVID lockdown about COVID and I got a strike and I was muzzled. Twitter, Facebook, everything, we were muzzled. But that was the government telling them to muzzle us. So thank God there was a lawsuit against that. So, don't believe everything you hear, and definitely do not believe the news. Definitely. They're all in cahoots with the establishment. And who's benefiting? The people in power. That's who's benefiting. And then a few of us that have some middle-class jobs. But most of the country is not happy at all. They're struggling. And a lot of people are surviving because their parents are paying their kids' rent and expenses and down payments on their houses. A lot of these boomers are paying for their kids for their bills. I do not know the percentage, but I know of some people who are getting money from their parents on the regular, because the boomers benefited from the short burst of productivity and money making, and the asset inflation into houses and stocks. They benefited and they have the money. But the rest of the people, the rest of us, we don't. We don't. So that's it. That's what I want to say. I get upset about this stuff.